and all he can do is pay her. That's what he did. Even the one that they had was the sealed file. When you read it, they try to make it slanted like it was other than what he exchanged drugs for sex. It might be immoral, but I don't know if it's illegal. It might be that too. But that ain't what they charged him with. They didn't charge him with exchanging drugs for sex. Because either way, they wanted to defame him so bad that his own people not see how to defend him, and they turned on him too. All of them women wasn't touched by Cosby. And the ones that were actually in relations with Cosby, he was tricking. He was tricking behind his wife back. She knew he was tricking because she felt it. She ain't say nothing because of Bill keeping his discretions and not making her look bad in public. So she tolerated him, man of that much influence, being influenced by that many different women. But if he was going to drug some women, he never did it to Felicia Rashad. He never did it to Stacey Dash. Oh my goodness, was she gorgeous. And then you look at some of them women that look like Gilla Gorilla talking about he stuck something in their drink and y'all don't see through that. Y'all got a problem. So I'm here to clean all of it up. Clear it up. He was tricking. He got caught tricking. And they twisted the story to turn him into a rapist, and you fell for it. And R. Kelly, ignorance and naivety. He should have never told nobody he was the Pied Piper R&B, and he'd have been all right. They had to get rid of him at this time because they thought that he might really be the Pied Piper. They couldn't have did that. So, y'all know what's going on. Y'all know what need to be done. Get the minister the message. And with that, I say I love y'all. And let's get to a better life. And let's get to a brighter future with this. No secret with it. Out in the open. Public. They going to see how the difference between how the devil move and how a real God move. And it's not a very big difference. It's not a very big difference. It's an obvious difference. The difference ain't big. It's obvious. They got to do shit in secret because if you know what they're doing, you know they're doing something wrong. My mama said what's done in the dark gonna come to the light. That's my job. Bring it to the light. And with that, you did right, Farrakhan. You put me on full blast like you were supposed to. That's how I know that you got information that you needed. You did it. We here. This is Judgment Day. This day 7. We got 2 more 7-day periods to move. So, I need to see your ministers. And I'll talk to y'all later. So, I don't know if I'm going to do many invites to this video. I'm just going to record it and post it and let it do what it do, as they say. So it's not going to be very long, I don't think. So I'm going to address white America. I always told specific students of mine that as soon as these white people find out that they are grouped in with us and we are all being robbed equally the same, hey, they might tear this motherfucker up. So, I extended support in the places I was told. The widow wanted me to use specific people and to do things in a specific way in the name of righteousness. So, not one single person has come after the light has been shined. Not one single person has come to sit and have a conversation in light of the overwhelming evidence as to what has been presented. Now, one person who is indisposed at the moment acknowledged with a pledge of tribute, acknowledged the presence of myself. But due to current circumstances, the reason that person is incapacitated is because he was not the person that I was supposed to go to first in order to clean this mess that was made in Babylon, in order to clean it up. So, I was told, if you know how to read the signs, and if you know the times according to the signs you read, then you would also know the agenda. Now, that speech was called Time Dictates the Agenda. Okay? Now here's the time frame according to the signs as they lay on this day that I'm recording this. The signs tell me now, being that I have done everything that I was supposed to do, because the prophecy said I was going to have every door shut in my face when I go to my own. And it also say when he came to his own, they received him not. And so now we are at the part where that's all done. In the Wisdom of Solomon, it says that they would try his patience to determine if he would be a patient ruler. So they tried my patience. I'm still patient. I'm not irate. I'm tired of smelling baby blood in the air. I'm sick of that. And not just interfering with my sleep pattern. But I can tolerate it as long as y'all like y'all children being used for food. I can tolerate it no matter how bad I don't like it. Because sooner or later, we're going to understand that children are not for food and they're not for sex toys. We're going to understand that sooner or later. We will also understand that as long as we don't do our part, that we cannot be counted among the righteous and not do our part. I've been doing my part for 50 years, or else I wouldn't be making this video. I'm 50 years old. So I was initiated in Chicago by my mother's godmother into the Vadum. And she called my Loa, which in the African culture, the Loa is your ancestral spirit that comes through the family. And certain children are able to fully embody that ancestral spirit. And it's called a Loa. Well, we have a family that we call Orisha. And this is where it all stems from. In the widow's son story for white people in America, it's y'all turn to determine how many people will be counted among the ranks of the righteous. It's y'all turn now. Because I went to my own and they shut the doors on me. They were supposed to do that according to prophecy so that I would be forced at this time to address white people and find out if everything was in vain or not, right? Because the whole thing was, if at this point, if white people have not assimilated enough of the blood of the gods to ascend, they will not heed the call. And that would set a stage for a mass extinction of humanity. The whole thing was the cleanup from what was done in Babylon. But before the full story can be told, the judgment has to take place. The judgment has to be rendered in a specific manner in a specific location. The opening of Judgment Day has been announced. This is the Jubilee. Now, my promise to the widow was that I would save as many as would want to be saved and taste the savor of heaven, and that I would find a way out of this system for as many would want to be free. I did my part. I found that it's an illusion fixed in place by ignorance on the behalf of those being deceived. It's based on the Roman maxim of law that says, let he who will be deceived be deceived. Now, those were the ones that were the imposters who laid that down. Those were the false gods that you've been worshiping for nearly 6,000 years. Their time is over. They have to surrender their fake God status. And they have to move out of the way of righteousness. We were in Egypt, a high culture, the highest known, even higher in quality than the Sumerian and Babylonian invader who came here. Our empire fell because we allowed them to do some genetics unauthorized from prime creator. In other words, they made something they were not supposed to make, and it created what they call the sins of the world. In order for those sins to be forgiven, one of the gods, at that time they called him Jehute, and he decided that if the widow didn't want mass extinction of humanity again, he would have to fix the genetics so that those who were denied the right to infinite wisdom or higher knowledge, and those who were denied the right to eternal life, would be able to receive those things. Now, we are stuck in this three-dimensional mindset that restricts us from being able to realize that when the ascension moves from the third dimension fixed position to the fifth dimension, we will not be trapped by the bondage of time and space. There will be a new heaven and a new earth. A whole new reality is one vibratory rate up from where we are. Now, if we want to understand the story of the widow's son, there are many, many videos and books about it where you will understand the legend of the widow's son. But the widow's son is an accidental, which means it was made for the Western world. It was an accidental rewrite of what we call in the Kemetic culture the Osirian resurrection. The false gods, the ones who told you in your Old Testament that they create good and evil, those false gods had the world deceived while the genetic spill was being cleaned up. And until the genetic spill was clean, you would not see the widow's son raised. Now, the biblical story of the Temple of Jerusalem had to be built before the Son of Man could return. They are looking for a physical brick and mortar structure to be built in the Middle East. That's not the Temple of Solomon. The Temple of Solomon is the Temple of man. The temple that had to be built was predicated upon a genetic cleanup. It was the Temple of man. This would not allow all of us any more or any less right of ascension. But white people was responsible and given full reign of terror to get their one drop of blood so that they could earn the right to ascend. Their reign of terror comes to an end now. They are no longer the highest authority on earth. The crown prince of heaven and earth is the widow's son. The widow is the queen of heaven and earth. And this was all based on the war of the gods. The war in heaven spilled onto earth. It was never supposed to land on earth. Earth was supposed to have been off limits as a soul training simulator. But one of them came in peaceful manner and was allowed to enter the earth realm unobstructed because of his peaceful nature and disposition. And the queen did not think something was right. So she had came and pulled me from a different dimension. In another multi-dimensional form, I am an undefeated general of a mass troop of beings that do not lose. And she asked me if I would come and protect her daughters from Umbaba, never knowing that this Umbaba was a relative of those invaders, but he paraded as a spirit of the earth and a protector of the cedar forest. But to come and assist with protecting the daughters from Umbaba, a group of invaders came and the war began. Now, I'm not going to get into too much of that right now because that's not the purpose of this. But the war that took place, we have fought on this planet through millions of years. What they tell you was the extinction of the dinosaurs was a nuclear winter. None of this stuff is new. As the Proverbs say, there is nothing new under the sun. Because this is all cyclic. Because it's a simulator. It runs in a cycle that's predictable. Once you understand that, you can step outside of the cycle and its unpredictable nature and see the full spectrum of a timeline. Being able to do that, I can tell you the who, what, when, where, and how this devil has taken power. I can tell you the methodology that we have to use under the code of righteousness to reclaim power with the least amount of disruption to our daily lives. If the people that I'm speaking to now, which is white America, can understand this, we can begin to learn how to live like humans again. Because these false gods enforced a law that compelled us to behave savagely and separately as reptiles. In other words, they put restrictions on us mentally that allowed us to primarily draw from what scientists of the brain call your reptilian brain, which is your base lowest nature, by restricting you through clogging your chakras with a nanobot that vibrates somewhere between third and fourth dimension. This nanobot prevents your spiritual self from connecting with source, which allows them to put you on what they call the silver cord and reharvest you through lifetime after lifetime in cyclic nature. in order to use you as a slave and a servant, and to keep you trapped in a three-dimensional fixed position reality, which is not the natural state for any being that would ascend and have eternal life. We are not designed to be stuck in three dimensions. The three dimensions it's a simulator for the soul, so that we can learn and refine ourselves so that we can become gods in a different domain and different dominion. We had to learn using the stretches and the pains of time, and they tortured us with something called death, which we did not know before they came. They introduced death by exploding a collider, a particle accelerator, and causing the fourth dimensional beings that were being trained to ascend to be trapped into a third dimensional fixed position reality. And they seal you in using the alchemical formula that closes your higher chakras, especially the love chakra of the heart. If you understand Qigong, you can ask Qigong healers around the world about this black goo that they are removing from energy centers in people. And they will explain to you that it is a very difficult substance to remove. If you aspire to ascend in righteousness and to feel the love of divine, if you aspire to eternal life, I'm going to tell you what we have to do. You have to find your Knights Templars and tell them that the Crown Prince of the Holy Grail has surfaced. They know what to do. And history has shown that the Knights Templar has been trustworthy in guarding the blood of the Holy Grail. In France has been issued a warning at Notre Dame because they killed a very important Knights Templar and thought that that would stop the widowed son from resurfacing. When they discovered upon invasion in Fort Detroit and being conquered by Chief Pontiac, the chief of the two feathers, the chief who only speaks the truth, is what that means in native culture. He is the chief of two feathers.